Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling completely drained? Like someone just reached inside your mind, stirred up chaos, and left you questioning yourself? Toxic people have a way of turning peace into turmoil, making even the strongest feel powerless. But what if I told you there's a way to deal with them that doesn't involve anger, resentment, or endless frustration? A way to remain completely unshaken, no matter how manipulative, critical, or negative they are. That's exactly what Stoicism teaches. The ancient Stoics lived in a world filled with betrayal, power struggles, and constant personal attacks. Yet, they mastered the art of remaining untouchable, not by fighting back or seeking revenge, but by developing an inner fortress so strong that no insult, no manipulation, and no amount of negativity could penetrate it. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, was surrounded by people who wanted to see him fail. Corrupt politicians, envious rivals, and those who plotted against him in secret. But instead of wasting energy on their toxicity, he trained himself to rise above it. He wrote in his meditations, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, 'Today I shall meet people who are meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and I know that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own.'" In other words, he expected toxic people to exist, but he refused to let them disturb his peace. That's the mindset of a Stoic. And in this video, I'll give you 15 powerful ways to handle toxic people like a true Stoic, so you can walk away from negativity without it ever touching you. Because the ultimate victory? It's not proving them wrong. It's becoming so unshakable that they can no longer reach you. Let's get started. Before we dive deeper into today's topic, make sure to hit that like button if you're ready to transform your mindset and embrace the power of Stoic wisdom. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to Stoic Manifestation for more content to guide you on your journey to personal growth and inner peace. Number 1. Accept that you can't change them. In life, we often find ourselves facing people who challenge us, whether it's a colleague, a friend, or even a family member. These individuals might act in ways that are toxic, manipulative, or simply inconsiderate. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that if we just tried hard enough, we could change them. We might think, if I explain myself better, or if I just give them some space, or if I show them a better way of thinking, we could somehow shift their behavior. But here's a harsh truth. You can't change them. This reality can be frustrating, even disheartening. But as the Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In other words, your peace of mind doesn't depend on how others behave. It depends on how you respond. When you shift your focus from trying to change others to changing your own reactions, you regain control over your life and emotions. Think about it. When you spend time trying to change someone else's toxic behavior, you give them power over you. You tie your sense of peace and happiness to something external, something you cannot control. That is where the real danger lies. Instead of trying to fix others, focus on fixing your own response. The Stoics teach that we can't control the actions of others, but we can control how we respond to them. Take Marcus Aurelius, for example. As a Roman emperor, he encountered countless people who had different values, beliefs, and priorities. Yet, instead of fighting to change everyone around him, he worked on perfecting his own character. He wrote in his meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This is the essence of Stoic wisdom. Stop arguing with the world, and start becoming the person you want to be. This doesn't mean you have to tolerate toxic behavior. It simply means you accept that you can't control others, and that your peace comes from your ability to act with integrity, regardless of the external chaos. Your peace isn't a prize that someone else can take from you. It's a choice you make every moment, regardless of the negativity around you. So, when you face a toxic person in your life, remember this: you are not their fixer. Instead, Focus on fixing how you respond. Focus on preserving your own peace. When you do, you'll realize that you've taken back control of your life. Number 2. Set firm boundaries without guilt. One of the most important lessons we can learn in life is how to set boundaries, especially when it comes to toxic people. Too often, we believe that saying no or distancing ourselves from someone who is harmful to our well-being makes us selfish or uncaring. We may feel guilty, as though we're somehow abandoning them or not living up to some ideal of unconditional love and kindness. But let's pause and reflect on this. Boundaries are not selfishness. They are a sign of self-respect. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This means that your mental peace, your emotional stability, and your sense of happiness are directly influenced by the thoughts and influences you allow into your life. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, toxic energy, or people who drain you, your mind and spirit will suffer. Boundaries are a form of protection for your mental health, just as a shield protects a warrior on the battlefield. It's important to understand that setting boundaries doesn't mean you're rejecting others or being unkind. It means you are taking responsibility for your own well-being. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus famously said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." In this case, mental wealth consists not in accumulating the approval or acceptance of others, but in having a clear sense of what is necessary for your peace and stability. When you set boundaries, you are making it clear to yourself and others that your peace, time, and energy are precious. You are teaching people how to treat you, and more importantly, how to respect the limits you set for your own well-being. There is nothing wrong with distancing yourself from toxic influences. In fact, it's a necessary part of protecting your own mental health. Imagine the life of Marcus Aurelius. As an emperor, he was constantly surrounded by people with different agendas, demands, and expectations. He could have easily been consumed by the chaos around him, but instead, he chose to maintain the quality of his thoughts by focusing on what was truly important: his own growth, his integrity, and his duty to the world, not to the whims of others. He set clear boundaries around his own thoughts and actions, and through that, he preserved his happiness and effectiveness. When you begin to set firm boundaries, you may feel some guilt at first. This is normal. But remember, guilt is often just the voice of a society that tells us we must always be available to others. But the Stoics remind us that we cannot give from an empty cup. You cannot help others effectively if you are constantly draining yourself. So, set boundaries with confidence, without apology, and without guilt. Recognize that by doing so, you are practicing the highest form of self-respect. Your peace of mind is worth more than the approval of anyone else. Number 3. Master the art of emotional detachment. When it comes to dealing with toxic people, one of the most powerful tools at your disposal is emotional detachment. It sounds simple, but it's not always easy, especially when someone pushes your buttons, says something hurtful, or tests your patience. Our natural instinct might be to react, to defend ourselves, to retaliate. But the Stoics teach us something profoundly different. Toxic people feed off our reactions. The more we react emotionally, the more power we give them over us. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, famously said, "He who is brave is free." This bravery isn't about facing physical danger, but about having the courage to control your emotions in the face of provocation. True freedom begins with emotional control. It's the ability to stand still in the storm, unaffected by the winds that blow around you, choosing your response rather than being swept away by your impulses. Imagine this. You're in a heated conversation with someone who is purposely trying to get under your skin. They raise their voice, they insult you, or they say something that stirs up a deep emotional reaction. In that moment, you have a choice. You can react with anger, frustration, or defensiveness, or you can choose to detach from the emotional turbulence and respond with logic and calmness. This doesn't mean you ignore your feelings, but rather that you don't let them control you. Emotional detachment is about acknowledging your feelings without letting them dictate your actions. It's about creating a space between the trigger and your response. This pause allows you to think clearly and decide how to act in line with your values, not your emotions. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on the importance of controlling his emotions in the face of adversity. He wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." This isn't about ignoring the wrongs others do to you. It's about choosing a higher path. By maintaining your emotional composure, you disarm the toxic person and retain your personal power. When you train yourself to respond with logic instead of emotion, you start to break free from the cycle of reacting to others. You stop giving them the power to control your state of mind. Instead, you step into your own power and choose how you will engage with the world around you. This is the Stoic way, the art of emotional detachment. The more you practice this, the more it becomes second nature. You start to notice that toxic people no longer have the same effect on you. Their insults or negativity roll off you like water off a duck's back. You no longer feel the need to defend yourself or react. You've mastered the art of emotional detachment, and with it, you've gained freedom over your emotions in your life. Number 4. Choose silence over useless arguments. One of the most effective ways to deal with toxic people is also one of the simplest. Choose silence over useless arguments. In the heat of an argument, it's easy to get caught up in trying to prove your point, defend yourself, or win the conversation. But toxic people thrive on conflict. They feed off the energy of arguments, using your reactions to manipulate or escalate the situation. In many cases, engaging in a back and forth is exactly what they want. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This wisdom reminds us that sometimes the best response to an argument is not to say anything at all. Silence is your weapon. When you choose silence, you're not conceding or surrendering, you're strategically disengaging. You're refusing to give the toxic person the ammunition they need to continue the conflict. Imagine this. A toxic individual starts an argument, throwing insults or accusations your way. You feel the heat rising in your chest, the urge to defend yourself, to counter their words. But instead of reacting, you pause, breathe, and stay silent. In that silence, you disarm them. You refuse to play their game. The more you engage in pointless arguments, the more you allow toxic people to drain your energy and peace of mind. But when you stop participating, you stop giving them power. The Stoics understood that words are powerful, but they also recognized that not every battle is worth fighting. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. There is immense strength in walking away from conversations that don't serve your growth or well-being. Marcus Aurelius himself practiced this. He once wrote, "How much time he gains who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks." By disengaging from the drama and conflict around you, you reclaim your time and energy, which are far more valuable than winning a petty argument. Strategic disengagement is a key part of maintaining your peace and mental clarity. It's about choosing where to direct your energy and when to let go of battles that don't matter in the long run. The next time you find yourself drawn into a pointless argument with a toxic person, remember that silence is often the most powerful response. By choosing not to engage, you retain control over your emotions and your peace. In the end, you'll find that most of the time, silence speaks louder than words. You don't need to defend yourself or prove anything. When you choose silence, you maintain your power and dignity, and you leave the toxic person to stew in their own chaos. Number 5. Protect your energy. In life, one of the most valuable things we have is our energy. It's what fuels us, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And once it's drained, it's hard to replenish. Yet, too often, we allow others, especially toxic individuals, to siphon away our energy without even realizing it. But here's the truth. Your energy is precious. It's something you should guard fiercely, just as the Stoics guarded their peace of mind. Imagine your energy as a limited resource, like water in a reservoir. Every time you allow a toxic person to drain you with their negativity, their drama, or their toxic behavior, you're pouring out a little bit of that precious resource. And once it's gone, it takes time to refill. We can choose where to focus it, and we can choose to protect it from the things or people that seek to deplete it. When you surround yourself with negative or toxic individuals, you're essentially choosing to spend your energy on people who drain, not elevate. You're giving away your peace for nothing in return. The Stoics, however, were masters at maintaining control over their internal resources. They knew that to be effective in life, to live with purpose and clarity, they had to be careful about where and how they invested their energy. Often, the drain we feel from toxic people comes not just from their actions, but from the way we mentally dwell on them, ruminating on their behavior, trying to figure them out, or worrying about their effect on us. But remember, you don't have to engage with every negative person or situation. You can choose to protect your energy by simply walking away, by setting firm boundaries, and by choosing not to engage in the mental turmoil that they bring. The power of this choice lies in surrounding yourself with people who lift you up rather than those who drag you down. Seek out individuals who inspire you, who challenge you in a positive way, who encourage your growth and well-being. Your circle shapes your energy. The more you surround yourself with uplifting and supportive people, the more your energy will thrive. As Epictetus said, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. If you want to be a person of strength, clarity, and peace, then protect your energy by surrounding yourself with people who share those same values. Don't waste your precious energy on people who diminish it with negativity. The true Stoic knows that energy is a limited resource, and they invest it wisely for their own growth and well-being. Number 6. Avoid seeking validation from toxic people. One of the most insidious ways toxic people can affect us is by manipulating our sense of self-worth. They often do this by withholding approval, leaving us constantly seeking their validation. We might find ourselves bending over backward to get their praise or recognition, but no matter how hard we try, it's never enough. This kind of behavior can wear us down, making us question our worth, our abilities, and our value. But here's the critical truth. Your self-worth should never depend on the approval of toxic people. The Stoic mindset teaches us that true self-worth comes from within, not from the opinions or judgments of others. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, once said, "A man is as miserable as he thinks he is." This statement underscores a powerful idea. We create our own sense of value and happiness through our thoughts. When we rely on others to define our worth, we give them power over us. But when we cultivate a strong, internal sense of self, we stop seeking validation from those who would only use it to manipulate or control us. Toxic people thrive on your need for their approval because it gives them power over you. They may praise you one moment and criticize you the next, keeping you in a constant state of uncertainty. This emotional roller coaster can be exhausting, and over time, it can erode your confidence and peace. But the Stoics would remind us that this is all an illusion. The approval of others is fleeting and unreliable. It can change in an instant, leaving us constantly chasing something that can never truly satisfy us. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, faced criticism from all sides during his reign. Yet, he never allowed the opinions of others to define his actions. In his meditations, he wrote, "The opinion of others has no power over me, except the power I give it." This is the key. We give power to others' opinions by allowing them to dictate our emotional state. When you stop seeking validation from toxic people, you reclaim that power. Instead, Focus on developing a strong sense of self-worth that is anchored in your own values, actions, and integrity. Remember, your worth doesn't fluctuate based on the approval of others. You are valuable because of who you are, not because of what someone else says about you. When you stop seeking validation from toxic people, you free yourself from the emotional manipulation that keeps you tethered to their whims. Your sense of self becomes unshakable, no longer dependent on the unpredictable and often harsh judgments of others. So, the next time you find yourself craving approval from someone who doesn't have your best interests at heart, remind yourself, your worth is not for sale. It's yours, and it's based on the truth of who you are, not the fleeting opinions of others. Number 7. Reframe toxicity as a mental training ground. Life will inevitably test you. In a world full of unpredictable challenges and difficult people, you will encounter toxicity, whether it's in the form of harsh criticism, unfair treatment, or manipulative behavior. But here's a powerful shift in perspective that the Stoics embraced. Instead of seeing toxic encounters as obstacles or setbacks, see them as opportunities for growth. Toxic people can become a training ground for your patience, resilience, and self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, understood this concept well. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action." What does this mean? It means that the very things that stand in our way, the toxic people, the frustrating situations, are the very things that can propel us forward in our personal development. When faced with adversity, we have two choices. We can either react negatively, or we can use the challenge to sharpen our skills and grow stronger. The Stoics choose the latter. Think about it this way. Every encounter with a toxic person is a chance to practice self-control. When someone insults you, belittles you, or tries to provoke a reaction, this is an opportunity to practice detachment. When they push your buttons, it's a chance to respond calmly rather than reacting with anger. In these moments, you're training your mind to stay grounded and unshaken, just as a warrior practices his discipline in the face of challenge. Every toxic encounter is an opportunity to exercise patience. When a toxic person drags you into drama, you have the chance to step back and choose silence over conflict. Every time you refuse to engage in their negative energy, you're reinforcing your ability to remain unaffected and focused on what truly matters. The Stoic mindset teaches us that challenges are not there to break us, but to build us. Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Toxic people can teach us the importance of resilience. They help us practice how to stay composed in the face of adversity, how to control our emotions, and how to make decisions based on reason, not impulse. Think of toxic encounters like weights in the gym. Just as lifting heavier weights builds physical strength, navigating toxic interactions builds emotional and mental resilience. Over time, you become stronger, more resilient, and more equipped to handle whatever life throws your way. So, instead of dreading the toxic people in your life, reframe them as mental training partners. They are giving you the opportunity to practice self-mastery. Each encounter is a chance to refine your emotional discipline, deepen your patience, and strengthen your resilience. And as you grow stronger in these areas, you'll find that toxic people no longer have the same impact on you. You'll rise above them, armed with the wisdom and composure that comes from the Stoic way. Number 8. Recognize manipulative behavior early. One of the most insidious traits of toxic people is that they often don't wear their toxicity on their sleeves. They can disguise themselves as kind, charming, or even helpful, making it harder to recognize their manipulative behavior until it's too late. That's why the ability to spot manipulation early on is crucial, not just for protecting yourself, but for maintaining your peace of mind. The Stoics had a deep understanding of human nature, and they knew that manipulation often comes in subtle forms. Recognizing these patterns early can save you a lot of emotional turmoil. Toxic people are experts at making you question your own reality, and they will often use manipulation tactics like guilt-tripping, gaslighting, or passive aggression to get what they want. Take guilt-tripping, for example. This is when someone tries to make you feel responsible for their emotions or actions, even though they're the ones in the wrong. A toxic person might say something like, "I can't believe you would do this to me after everything I've done for you," trying to make you feel guilty for setting a boundary or making a decision that's in your best interest. The Stoics would tell us that it's not our responsibility to manage someone else's emotions, and we should never feel guilty for making choices that preserve our well-being. Then there's gaslighting, a manipulation tactic designed to make you doubt your own reality. If someone constantly invalidates your experiences, twists your words, or denies things they've said or done, this is a clear sign of manipulation. The goal is to leave you feeling confused and unsure of yourself. In these situations, a Stoic would remind you to trust your perception and hold firm to your own understanding of the truth. You have power over your mind, not outside events, said Marcus Aurelius. Gaslighting only works if you allow it to shake your internal conviction. Stand firm in your own truth. Lastly, passive aggression is another common manipulation tactic used by toxic people. Rather than confronting you directly, they may resort to sarcasm, backhanded compliments, or silent treatment to express their dissatisfaction. These indirect attacks are designed to make you feel guilty or unsettled without them ever having to take responsibility for their actions. A Stoic would deal with passive aggression by acknowledging it without being drawn into the emotional drama. By staying calm and composed, you prevent the manipulator from gaining control over your emotional state. The Stoic mindset teaches us that true wisdom is knowing when to walk away from situations that aren't serving us. Recognizing manipulative behavior early gives you the power to disconnect before the situation escalates. It's not about confrontation, it's about protecting your mental and emotional health. When you see these tactics at play, don't hesitate to distance yourself. Remember, your peace is worth more than their approval. Number 9. Train yourself to be unprovokable. Imagine a world where no one's harsh words or toxic behavior can touch you, where you remain calm and composed no matter what life throws at you. This might seem impossible at first, but with Stoic discipline, you can train yourself to be unprovocable. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, famously said, "If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit." What does this mean? It means that the power to react lies within you, not the other person. While you can't control the words or actions of toxic individuals, you do have control over how you respond. Mastering your emotions is the key to becoming untouchable. When you stop allowing others to provoke you, you take away their power over your state of mind. The Stoics believe that our emotions, especially those triggered by external events, are not automatic reactions, but rather responses that can be trained and controlled. It's easy to be reactive when someone insults you or pushes your buttons. But the true strength of the Stoic is in their ability to pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully rather than emotionally. So how can you begin to train yourself to be unprovocable? One of the most powerful tools is mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches you to observe your emotions without becoming attached to them. When someone provokes you, instead of instantly reacting, take a step back and observe what's happening inside. Notice the anger, frustration, or fear that arises, but don't let it dictate your actions. Recognizing these emotions is the first step in preventing them from taking control. Next, deep breathing is a simple yet powerful technique. When you feel provoked, take a few deep breaths, inhaling slowly and exhaling fully. This breaks the cycle of emotional escalation and gives you the space to make a conscious decision about how to respond. It's in this moment of pause that you find your power. Finally, rational detachment allows you to remove yourself emotionally from the situation. This is where the Stoic practice of viewing external events from a broader perspective comes into play. Instead of taking things personally, step back and remind yourself that the toxic person's behavior is about them, not you. By detaching emotionally, you prevent yourself from getting entangled in their drama. Becoming unprovocable isn't about suppressing your emotions or pretending to be unaffected. It's about choosing your response with intention. Number 10. See their toxicity as a reflection of themselves, not you. One of the most powerful shifts you can make in dealing with toxic people is realizing that their behavior is not a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of who they are. People's actions, especially when they're toxic or hurtful, often say more about their inner turmoil, insecurities, and unresolved issues than they do about you. When someone insults you or treats you poorly, don't take it personally. Instead, recognize it for what it truly is, a projection of their own negativity. The Stoics understood the importance of detachment, not just from people but from their opinions and judgments. Marcus Aurelius wisely observed, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you internalize someone else's toxic behavior, you let their negativity affect your thoughts, which in turn affects your emotions and your peace of mind. But if you can step back and view their actions as a reflection of their own inner world, you begin to take away their power over you. This doesn't mean excusing or tolerating harmful behavior. It means understanding that their actions have little to do with your worth. If someone is rude or manipulative, it's often because they are dealing with their own fears, frustrations, or unresolved pain. Their toxicity is more about them trying to project their unhappiness onto others than about any shortcomings in you. In this way, their negativity can't touch your sense of self unless you allow it. Seneca, in his letters, urged us to view insults and criticism with a level head. It is not the things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. This is a crucial Stoic concept. When you detach yourself from the belief that someone's actions say anything about you personally, you stop absorbing their toxic energy. Instead, you observe it from a distance, recognizing it for what it is, a projection of their own unresolved issues. Imagine someone who constantly criticizes you. Rather than feeling hurt or defensive, try to see their criticism not as a reflection of your flaws, but as a sign of their dissatisfaction or insecurities. Their negativity is a mirror of their own struggles, not a verdict on your character. When you begin to see their behavior this way, it loses its power to affect you. Detachment is the key here. Instead of absorbing the toxicity and letting it shape how you feel about yourself, you observe it like a passing storm, acknowledging its presence, but not letting it disturb your peace. This is not about ignoring hurtful actions or pretending they don't matter. It's about refusing to internalize them, refusing to let them dictate how you see yourself. By reframing toxic behavior as a reflection of the person causing it, you take back control of your emotional space. You free yourself from their projections and preserve your inner peace, knowing that their behavior is more about their struggles than it is about you. Number 11. Focus on actions, not words. In a world where words are cheap and often meaningless, one of the best pieces of wisdom the Stoics offer is to judge people by their actions, not their words. Toxic people are masters of manipulation. They can say all the right things, promise the world, and tell you exactly what you want to hear. But when you look at their actions, the truth often becomes painfully clear. Words are easy to say, but actions reveal a person's true intentions. The Stoics were acutely aware of the power of behavior. They didn't waste time analyzing promises or sweet talk. What mattered to them was how people acted, especially when their actions contradicted their words. Epictetus, for example, taught us to focus on what people do rather than what they say. We are disturbed not by what happens to us, but by our thoughts about what happens. If someone's words and actions don't align, it's a clear sign that their true intentions lie not in what they say, but in what they do. Toxic people are notorious for distorting reality, manipulating you with flattering words, or making promises they never intend to keep. They'll tell you they care, that they want the best for you, but their actions speak a different language. They may betray your trust, break commitments, or act in ways that show they're only interested in serving their own needs. The Stoic approach is to stop getting caught up in their empty promises and instead pay attention to what they do when no one is watching. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reflected on the value of actions over words. Let not your thoughts dwell on things you can't control, but let them rest on your own actions. In other words, Focus on what's tangible, on what actually happens. If someone claims they have your best interests at heart, but consistently takes actions that hurt or undermine you, their words mean nothing. The true test is always in the consistency of their actions. When dealing with toxic people, it's important to shift your focus away from the stories they spin or the promises they make. Watch their behavior. Actions speak volumes about their true intentions, and over time, you'll begin to see their patterns. The more you pay attention to what they do, rather than what they say, the easier it becomes to spot their manipulations. Take a step back and observe their actions without being swayed by their words. If their behavior doesn't match their rhetoric, don't waste your energy trying to rationalize it. Toxic people may try to confuse or gaslight you with their words, but their actions will always tell you who they truly are. So, remember, actions never lie. The Stoics knew this truth well, and it's one of the most valuable tools you can use when navigating toxic relationships. Pay attention to how people act, not what they say. That's where the truth lies. Number 12. Develop an observer's mindset. When dealing with toxic people, the ability to step back and observe rather than react can be a game changer. Instead of becoming emotionally entangled in their drama, imagine yourself as an observer, watching the situation from a distance, just like Marcus Aurelius would. The Stoics believe that emotional detachment is one of the most powerful tools we can use to protect our peace. By developing an observer's mindset, we can disengage from the chaos around us and regain control over our responses. Imagine this. You're in a tense situation. Maybe someone is trying to provoke you or drag you into a conflict. Instead of being pulled into the emotional whirlwind, take a step back and observe the scene as if you're a neutral party, watching it unfold from above. Picture yourself like an eagle soaring above the ground, witnessing the events from a higher perspective. This practice is what the Stoics called the view from above. Marcus Aurelius, in his meditations, would often remind himself to do this, to detach from his emotions and look at situations with clarity. You have power over your mind, not outside events, he wrote. By shifting your perspective and observing rather than participating, you take away the toxic person's ability to control how you feel. Why is this so powerful? When you become the observer, you break free from the emotional grip that toxic people often have on you. They may try to provoke anger, guilt, or frustration, but if you are observing the situation rather than reacting, you give yourself the space to make a rational decision about how to respond. You stop seeing yourself as the victim or the target of their behavior, and instead, you see it for what it really is, just another instance of their toxic pattern. Emotional detachment is key here. This doesn't mean you stop caring, ignore the problem, or turn a blind eye. It means you choose not to absorb their negativity. You create an emotional boundary where their behavior no longer dictates your emotional state. When you detach, you can respond with logic, patience, and clarity, rather than letting your emotions take over and lead you into conflict. Seneca taught us that we have the ability to control our responses, regardless of the situation. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality, he said. So often, we allow ourselves to be swept up in someone else's drama because we are caught up in the emotional story they create. But by adopting an observer's mindset, we begin to see things for what they are, temporary, external events that do not define us. When you observe, rather than react, you reclaim your power. Toxic people lose their grip over you because they can't manipulate or control you if you're no longer emotionally involved in their games. The next time you're faced with a toxic situation, try to step back mentally and picture yourself observing from a higher vantage point. Allow yourself the space to process without reacting impulsively. Number 13. Don't waste time trying to win against them. One of the biggest traps we can fall into when dealing with toxic people is the urge to win against them. Whether it's winning an argument, proving them wrong, or getting the last word. The Stoics understood that true victory lies not in defeating others, but in maintaining your own peace, composure, and integrity, no matter what others do or say. When it comes to toxic people, Your greatest triumph is simply staying calm and unaffected. Toxic individuals thrive on drama and conflict. They often engage in arguments not because they want resolution, but because they enjoy the power struggle. The more you try to prove yourself to them, the more energy you give them to manipulate or upset you. But Stoic wisdom teaches us to avoid wasting time on fruitless battles. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, reflects on this idea. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Instead of getting caught in their games, focus on being the person you want to be. Don't let toxic people define your actions or your emotional state. Winning an argument or trying to prove yourself to a toxic person rarely brings satisfaction. You might win the battle, but at what cost? The energy spent on arguing, the emotional toll, the anxiety, it's all unnecessary. The Stoics didn't seek external validation or recognition from others. True victory is internal. It's about maintaining your equanimity, your peace, and your integrity despite the provocations around you. Remember the Stoic principle. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury, rather than trying to defeat a toxic person. Focus on cultivating your own strength and peace. When you stay calm and unaffected by their antics, you're already winning. Toxic people only have power over you if you allow them to provoke you into a reaction. The real power comes from choosing not to engage in their drama, not from winning the argument. If you find yourself feeling the urge to prove your point or argue back, pause and ask yourself, what's the end goal here? If it's peace and resolution, argue away. But if it's just to win for the sake of winning, is it worth your time? The Stoic answer is no. In the end, the best revenge is your inner peace. When you stay calm, collected, and above the chaos, you demonstrate a strength that no argument can ever prove. By letting go of the need to win against toxic people, you free yourself from their grasp. You no longer allow their negativity to disturb your sense of self or your well-being. Instead of investing energy into battling with them, invest it into your own growth, peace, and personal mastery. Number 14. Seek wisdom, not drama. In the face of toxic people, it's easy to become distracted by their chaos, their drama, and their negativity. They'll pull you into their world of conflict and confusion if you let them. But as Stoics, we know that our time and energy are far too precious to waste on drama. Instead, we should seek wisdom, growth, and self-improvement. The Stoic path is about cultivating a life of purpose, not getting entangled in the distractions of others' petty battles. Toxic people thrive on creating chaos. They want to drag you into their world of gossip, anger, and emotional turbulence. They seek to destabilize your inner peace and get you caught up in their negativity. But Stoic wisdom teaches us that we have control over where we place our focus. We don't have to engage with every drama that presents itself. We have the power to choose what we invest our time and energy into. When we get caught up in toxic people's drama, we end up wasting our mental and emotional energy on things that don't matter in the grand scheme of life. Instead of wasting time in conflict, seek out people, books, and experiences that promote growth and wisdom. Spend time with wise mentors who can guide you on your journey toward becoming a better, more resilient person. Immerse yourself in literature, philosophy, and practices that challenge you to grow and expand your understanding of the world. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, constantly reminded himself to focus on his purpose and his values, rather than getting lost in external distractions. Concentrate on your work and on the task in front of you. By keeping your attention on what truly matters, your personal growth, your goals, and your values, you free yourself from the trap of toxic drama. You stop allowing others to dictate your emotional state and instead take charge of your own well-being. The Stoics were not interested in trivial gossip or small-minded drama. Their focus was always on cultivating virtue and wisdom, pursuing a life of tranquility, self-discipline, and growth. In a world full of distractions, it's easy to get caught up in the noise, but the Stoic path is about learning to block out that noise and focus on what truly matters. Seek wisdom in everything you do, whether it's reading a book, having a conversation with a mentor, or reflecting on your own thoughts. By turning away from drama and toward wisdom, you align yourself with the values that will lead you to a more peaceful, purposeful life. So, the next time you feel the pull of toxic people or the temptation to engage in meaningless gossip, remember this: your time is too valuable to waste on things that don't serve your growth. Choose wisdom over drama, and let that be your guiding light. Number 15. Walk away and prioritize your peace. In some situations, the most powerful thing you can do is walk away. It may feel counterintuitive, especially when toxic people try to drag you into their drama. But Stoic wisdom teaches us that detachment is not weakness. It's a powerful form of self-respect. Sometimes, the best choice for your mental and emotional well-being is to simply remove yourself from toxic environments. We live in a world that often glorifies confrontation and fighting for your place. But the Stoics understood that true strength isn't about constantly battling external forces. It's about maintaining your inner peace, regardless of what's happening around you. This doesn't mean you're giving up, running away, or avoiding conflict because you're afraid. It means that you are choosing to protect your energy and not allowing toxic people to control your emotional state. You don't have to endure toxicity for the sake of proving a point or engaging in unnecessary battles. If something or someone is disturbing your peace, you have the power to walk away. Leaving toxic environments, whether it's a workplace, a friendship, or even a family dynamic, is often the healthiest choice you can make for yourself. Many people fear that walking away makes them seem weak or defeated. But in reality, it takes immense strength to detach yourself from situations that drain you, emotionally or mentally. It's not about giving up. It's about giving yourself the gift of peace. By choosing to leave toxic environments, you are practicing the ultimate form of bravery, the courage to prioritize your own peace over external chaos. Walking away can also be a form of self-preservation. Sometimes, the best way to avoid further damage or manipulation is to simply remove yourself from a situation that no longer serves you. You don't have to stay in an environment that consistently causes stress or pain. Whether it's an unhealthy friendship, a toxic workplace, or a negative family relationship, you have the right to walk away, and you have the responsibility to choose peace for yourself. When you walk away from toxic situations, you are taking back your power. You are not surrendering. You are choosing to safeguard your mental clarity, emotional stability, and personal growth. Detachment is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It is the strength to say, I deserve peace, and to act on it, regardless of what others think or expect from you. In the Stoic tradition, your peace is your most valuable asset, and no one, not even toxic people, should have the power to disrupt it. Dealing with toxic people isn't just about avoiding conflict. It's a test of your Stoic discipline. Every interaction with toxicity presents an opportunity to practice what the Stoics taught us, to respond with wisdom and restraint rather than falling into the trap of emotional chaos. The real challenge isn't in confronting the toxic person. It's in controlling your own reactions and staying anchored in your peace. The Stoics weren't concerned with avoiding hardship. In fact, they believed that hardship and challenge were opportunities to grow and refine our character. But in every situation, especially those involving toxic people, we have a choice. We can either react impulsively and get swept up in the storm, or we can choose wisdom over emotional chaos. By applying the Stoic principles we've discussed today, accepting what we can't change, setting boundaries, detaching emotionally, and seeking peace over drama, you build the mental and emotional resilience to face any toxic situation without losing your balance. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that our minds are our greatest asset. No matter what others say or do, you control how you respond. When you choose peace, you choose freedom. The freedom to live on your own terms, unshaken by the negativity of the world around you. Apply these principles daily, and you'll find yourself becoming unshakable. You'll become someone who no longer reacts impulsively or gets caught in the web of toxic behavior. Instead, you'll navigate life with the calm assurance that your peace is non-negotiable. Toxic people may come and go, but your inner strength, your wisdom, and your peace are yours to protect. In the end, remember this: Stoic discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about growing stronger with each challenge and making the conscious choice to choose peace over chaos, wisdom over reaction. Keep practicing these principles, and you'll find yourself not only dealing with toxic people more effectively, but living a life that is truly free, truly peaceful, and truly yours.